Welcome to Keeping It Real with Jenn Godfrey. I'm a twin. I have a twin brother. And I'm like, what? I've been friends with you for like 15 years. I never knew that, So it is kind of crazy that there's a lot of twins out there. So it's really cool.
Yeah, I mean, I will say to the twin thing, as much as I love twins, I'm a twin, and you love twins. Twin pregnancies are definitely much higher risk, and there are more complications. So that's always a concern when I have couples who are pregnant with twins. Like, just, are they getting the care that they need? Are they being monitored regularly enough? Most twin pregnancies don't go to full term. So you actually delivered where I would have thought you would have, carrying twins. So yeah, it's just more complicated. And that's why, for anyone who's listening, who's in the IVF world, which is why in the IVF world, we try to avoid multiple pregnancies, because just the risk of them is just in general, just incrementally higher. And so we just want to be careful. And if we can avoid, that from happening, we'd rather avoid it. But it's still a beautiful thing. We just need to manage it differently. And so that's why you had to be managed a certain way and had to get the care that you did during that pregnancy.
Well, and I mean, the timing couldn't have been perfect because you're a twin, obviously, and we already worked together. I knew you, I trust you, and you were the one that was there to support me through the beginning stages, helping me find out how to address certain situations. Personally, like, I was able to confide in you when I wasn't able to talk to anybody else. And so that was huge for me too. And I got the support I needed from you. And you just made me feel like normal, where I was like, always like, oh, you were like, no. But I know you were saying like it takes two, and it does. And Todd's very supportive. My husband couldn't be a better partner for me because he's so much more chill. And I'm so, like a little neurotic at times or whatever. And, so he was very supportive, but for me, it's always reassuring to hear things from my husband and then hear it from somebody else as well. Like, because sometimes you just think your partner's saying things because they just want you to be happy or whatever. But you were also really good about reassuring me and working with Todd too and making sure that he felt supported, which is also really huge because I think that it was really scary. If you remember, Todd was terrified. He was like having twins. He was scared for me. And my pregnancy, we'll get into that in a sec, but my pregnancy it was very exciting. It took me a while to get, or for me, what I thought was a while, but it was like less than a year. I think within 8 months I was pregnant with twins. But my pregnancy was hard. It was the first trimester. I came in, I saw you a couple times. We did some acupuncture, made sure things were moving right. And I just had you helping me along with my OB. And once we found out we were twins, it was like it was just more monitoring, right? To make sure that my levels and everything were in sync. But after the second trimester, that third I was great. I was like, I'm moving. Oh my gosh, what is everybody talking about? And I have my bike. I'm a certified cycle instructor.
Oh,
so
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah. So I've been teaching for, I don't know, now over 10, 11, 12 years or something. So it was just something I did on the side. I took a class one time and the instructor came up to me and said, you know what you're doing? And I was like, this is my first class. I've never done it. And they're like, this is your first class? So like, you need to get your instructor's license. And I was like, okay. So I ended up, that's how that happened. So I went and did a class. I got certified and I got thrown right in. And so I just ended up doing it. Once again, healthy living lifestyle was just something keeping me accountable. And I really love motivating and being there for people. So it kept me accountable. And I just did it on the side. I still work full time and stuff, but I just taught in La Jolla, I think twice a week or something. Oh. And yeah, it was just fun, something to do. And I still teach, I sub every once in a while now. But I remember that my OB told me, she's like, you have to stop cycling. And I was like, what? She's like, no, I know you. She's like, your heart rate cannot go up high. She's like, and if I know that you're cycling and you're teaching, you are not the kind of person that's going to instruct a class unless you're off the bike, which you're not going to do.
Right.
So I remember I had to go on a leave and I was so upset about it. Like, it was because that was a good outlet for me, right? But I walked. We were in San Diego. We went to the beach a lot and I just walked a lot, which was great. But my third trimester was hard. that was the hardest part for me, was the pregnancy, or that third trimester. I couldn't really walk very well anymore. I gained 97 pounds before I went into the hospital.
Yep.
And my doctor she tricked me to go in Memorial Day weekend. I had done when you're twins, you have to go in
Yeah.
34 weeks and do every other day or every 2 days to do the heart monitoring and stuff. And I knew that weekend she was going to get me. She's like, you need to come in. I was like, no, I already came in. I'm going to do Memorial. I was like, I'm almost 36 weeks. I'm not coming in yet. I'm holding him in. And she's like, okay. I told her, I was like, I have a hair appointment. She's like, go to your hair appointment, come in, and then you can have the whole weekend off. And so I kind of knew. I got my root touch up, and then Todd took me to Scripps Memorial. Sure enough, second we walked in, she looks at Todd and said, lock the door. She's like, did you bring her bags? He's like, yeah, they've been in the car for like a month and a half or something. And she's like, go get them. You can't leave. And I was like,
you never told me this story.
Oh, yeah. I was so mad. I was trying to open the door. I was like, no, I'm going back home. I've got it. And she's like, no, you're not. Your heart rate is so high. You can't walk. You can't move. I was wearing Todd's slippers in the hospital because no shoes, like flip-flops, nothing would fit me except for his big slippers. And I was like Oompa Loompa. I could barely walk. It was very uncomfortable. So yeah, I went in. And they induced me that night. They induced me. I was in labor for 5 days.
Yeah.
Like I was at 1 centimeter, and that's why I ended up having a natural birth. I didn't have a plan, which is probably the best thing for me, was not having a plan.
Okay.
But when they did induce me, they kept thinking, oh, you'll go from, I was 1 centimeter when I went in there. I didn't go in because the baby.
No, that's why you were there so early, is because they just needed to monitor your blood pressure. They need to monitor your health and just give you time with all of that.
Yeah, they were worried my heart rate was not great. And then the babies were great, but mine wasn't doing very well. And then I think the weight too, I just had put on so much. The doctor was like, no, your body can't take. We got to get these babies out of you. You're going to shut down. I was at last day, the day that I had them, May 30th. I told them, I said, look, I'm in pain. And they were like, well, you were only at 4 centimeters. They're like, I was in there for like 4, this was day 4. And I was like, I feel something. And they're like, oh no, you're only at 4 centimeters. Nothing happens. It's not going to happen probably for another day or two. And sure enough, like, I want to say like a few hours later, it was that same day. I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 days or 4 or 5 hours later, I was just in a lot of pain. But I had gotten so used to being in pain because I had Braxton Hicks and I was in there. And I didn't take any medications or anything. I didn't have. And so Todd finally got the nurse over. My parents came, everyone was there, and they're like, look, my daughter, everyone's like, sure, her pain tolerance is pretty high. Like if she's saying she's in a lot of pain, you got to check her. And then finally the doctor came in and the doctor goes, oh no, the baby's coming. Mike, like baby A, his head was like crowning. Like I was like, I told you I felt something. And by the time the anesthesiologist got there, it was too late. They're like, nope, he's pushing within 5 pushes. When they were rolling me in the OR room, and he had come out that fast. And my birth, Jonah was tough. He was stuck in my pelvic bone, or my pelvic. So there was, I don't know, 4 or 5 doctors and like 3 or 4 nurses or something. They were all pushing on my stomach. But finally, I think about an hour and a half in, that's when my doctor was like, you got to get this baby out. I was about an hour and a half in. Finally, I got Jonah. I pushed him out. And he was blue. Like when I say he was blue, he was breathing, he was fine, but he was like this color, blue, because he had been beat, like they were pushing on him so much to get him out.
Yeah.
And so after that, I held them, got the skin contact, and then they put me in a wheelchair, and I've shook Marc. And no, I've never shook so bad before in my life. They put a bunch of, what is it, like sodium, or I can't remember the medication. Yeah. Well, doctors said if I wouldn't have pushed them down, that's why there were so many doctors that came in towards the end, because they thought they were going to have to, my heart rate went down. I think it was like 28 or something. It was so faint. I could barely push him out. They had to grab him and kind of pull him out too. But it was hard. But I shook for probably 8 hours. I just sat in a wheelchair, just shaking. I've never shook. My jaw it was really bad. So the babies, finally after that, we go in the room, and then that night, the babies were in the room with me. Todd was staying in there, and it was about 2 a.m. And that's when I went to the bathroom. I walked in and half my face was paralyzed. I fell on the floor because I thought I had a panic attack because I thought I had a stroke. I didn't know.
Right.
And they code reded me, and then they closed the floor down. They took me to ICU, and I ended up being in the hospital for 6 days. The kids were fine. They were 5 pounds, 3 ounces, 2 perfectly healthy little boys, but I was not good. I remember
a lot of trauma, during what was it, almost a week of being in the hospital for delivery.
Yeah. And natural too with no I don't know if I would recommend that for twins to anybody, like ever. If anybody's listening to this, I would say do not have a plan, but maybe not do it like I did because it was very traumatic on my body. I probably would have rather them done a C-section had I known that was going to happen. But hindsight, I had 2 healthy boys, and that's, all that really mattered to me at the time. I had no idea, though, how hard my recovery was going to be. Like, the getting pregnant to me felt like it was really hard at that time, right? But then it was like, then I had to kind of protect the pregnancy because I felt like it took me a while to have the children, that I wanted. And then I was like in protective mode. And then after I had them, it was like another struggle because it was a good thing that I was still working. I never got paid time. I still worked, but coming out of the hospital with 2 babies, breastfeeding, having all that trauma, and then finding out I had Bell's palsy, which that was great. I was in the hospital at least when that happened because they were able to get me into neurology and get the CAT scan and all that so they could eliminate the stroke, which was a good thing. But it was really hard recovering from the Bell's palsy because it was really painful and it hurt. So I'm like, was it preeclampsia? And I was so big. I couldn't do anything for like 6 weeks after the babies were born. Really, I could walk a little bit and that was it. But then I came and saw you, I think 2 days after I got out of the hospital. Neurology told me that my paralysis was so bad that my face would probably never come back from that. So that was like another scare, right? Like the Bell's palsy. And you were once again supportive right there, Marc. You said, you'll get your movement back. Let's not worry about that. Let's just get the needles in your face. Let's get the blood flow going. And you did. Within, I would say, 3 to 4 months, my face started moving again. And then was it 6, 7 months or something? I think I started to have full motion again.
Yeah. I mean, your Bell's palsy was definitely one of the more extreme cases that I've seen. Now, acupuncture has a long, long history of treating Bell's palsy. So we're talking about centuries of history treating Bell's palsy. So it's something that I knew when you walked in that we can address and support you, but I was also concerned because of the severity of it. It was pretty severe. But what's really important with Bell's palsy is that you get treatment ASAP. That the sooner you start acupuncture, the faster you're going to see results, the more likely you're going to see change and shifts so that you can fully recover from it. So even for you, even though it took a long time, definitely longer than I had hoped and expected, but you were showing progress. That was the other thing. Once we started to see some change, when we checked in, it looked different. You were seeing progress. You had more use of your face muscles than you did previously. And so that was always encouraging to see the change because that told me that we can keep going, right? We should continue to keep going. But it took a lot of persistence and time and patience on your part to get there. But what was key was how quickly we started, because I think that would have been an issue from the beginning if we had it.
In the hospital, I called you. I said, neurology said I'm never going to get my face back. So right there, new mom, anxiety, once again. They're telling me, go to the Bell's Palsy Institute of LA, drive all the way up there, 2 babies, eclampsia. Like, it was just crazy chaos, another storm, right? And then we're still still working and everything too. And it was just a lot. And Bell's Palsy Center of LA said, oh yeah, you have one of the worst severe cases. And they showed me all these pictures and they had, you probably never going to recover and your Bell's palsy will most likely come back. And that scared me so bad. I still have fear for that. I still feel like there's times where I get really tired, even today, where I'm like now, and my eye will start drooping sometimes. Like when I'm really tired, and you can see like this eye, I mean, it's better. I'm never going to say that, you definitely healed me for sure, but you can still see like the difference. I mean, you can see that. I mean, it's still there, but the vanity side of me, I can point it out. But if you didn't know, then you probably wouldn't know, see it. But yeah, it's still there. But are there cases I guess my question for you for the awareness of Bell's palsy, because I'm starting to hear, Marc, that this is also becoming a lot more common too, Bell's palsy. Have you seen more cases of Bell's palsy?
Well, I can't speak to that because it's not the specialty of our practice, right?
Yeah.
We see with women we're already supporting, we'll see someone will come in with that, but it's not something that, this is what we specialize in. So we've seen an increase or not. So it's hard for me to comment on that. I will say, I recently had a very close friend who had Bell's palsy. And one of the first things that I told him to do was to go see an acupuncturist and to get on herbs. And as a result, he recovered very, very fast. And one of the first people I thought about when I saw his picture was you. Well, he doesn't live here. So he sent me his picture, told me this was going on. And that's when I, told him what he needed to do. But his was nowhere near the severity where yours was. And so he recovered much, much faster. So, but I can't really speak to the fact that I'm seeing it much more because it's something that I see very frequently. I can tell you it happens and it happens enough, right? Like it's not like an uncommon thing to happen. It's not something that we see a lot with our pregnant women or postpartum. I don't see that a lot, but I think your situation with carrying two, with just the length of the labor and just how traumatic that was, I think in all those circumstances, it was really like all the dominoes fell in a certain way to cause that to happen. So, yeah.
Yeah, it did. And I'm glad, once again, like you supported me through it all. You still do, like in a lot of ways but one thing I will say about the Bell's palsy is that I wish there was some sort of cure for it, because it is still scary. Because I don't know, is it a virus? Is it, because they say it's a virus, but so does that mean it can come back at any time? Or, I mean, that's what scares me, because I still have that in the back of my head. Obviously, I'm a crazy person who always gonna think about stuff because it's traumatic, but yeah, it scares me. And then I hear like that in Chinese medicine, they've said, and I've talked about it with a few other of your colleagues, that there is the ancient saying that like moisture brings in the bell, like or something. What?
Wind brings in.
Wind. Okay. And when I was delivering the babies, I don't know if I told you this, but the hospital was on a remodel and they were born in May. So May gray, June gloom. So, on the coast, it's very misty, foggy. And I had them at Scripps La Jolla. And I remember we went in there, the fog was so thick and they were doing a remodel. It had just poured rain and the whole side of the hospital was tarped off and you could feel the wind coming in, and the OR room was tarped off. And so when I found that out, I thought I was kind of like in my head, like it's the hospital's fault because how dare they put me in a delivery room where there's, they're remodeling and So then my head went, but I specifically remember because it was cold and there was a draft and it was coming underneath the door and I felt it and they had to give me extra blankets.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying that's not a contributing factor. I definitely think it was. And that's what I mean. It was like, it was a perfect storm. All the dominoes fell in a certain way. You have the wind, you have the weather. You were weaker because you had been in the hospital for longer or feeling well. You had all those complications, like all those things had to line up for this to happen, which it did. Now, I will say, I have never seen anyone who's recovered from it go backwards. I'm not saying it's not possible. I'm just saying that I have not seen it.
Well, you're on standby. You know that. So just know you're like, oh gosh, it's Jenn. What now?
Nope.
But I will. The best thing though, too, I will say it was like a perfect conundrum of everything, right? But I couldn't have been with a better person to help me support me. You're not only like a colleague of mine and a good friend of mine, but you know so much about me. I feel so comfortable with you. You've always made me feel like very good and positive, and I really appreciate that because it is scary. And like even the preeclampsia side of stuff, like can we say what that is really quick? Because I still personally, I know I had it, but I didn't realize. So was it my heart rate going down and then?
It's primarily with your blood pressure.
Okay. And so, and I think that's pretty common, but I don't know. Mine was really.
With multiples, it's common. And the more weight you gain during pregnancy, it's more common.
So, and people kept telling me, oh, once you have those babies, when you deliver them, you're going to lose all the baby weight and you'll bounce right back. That was not the case for me. I'm naturally was like about 115 to 120 pounds pre-babies. And when I left the hospital, I was 198 pounds, I think. So
Yeah.
I lost maybe 20 pounds of that when I left there.
Yeah, but also you weren't going to lose the weight as quickly because of the preeclampsia, because you were retaining a lot of.
Treated two birds with one stone with me, because when I came in, you put those needles. I'm going to link pictures of it too. But I mean, I think I probably looked like a science experiment almost, like with all the needles that were like in me, like with from head to toe, basically. I mean, it's pretty impressive. I mean, really how well that helped me though. And you kept saying, you can walk, you need to move, and it's okay to move, but just don't get that heart rate elevated. So I did. I walked a lot. Yeah. All around San Diego.
I mean, and for those of you who are just listening and not watching, I encourage you to put on the video right now just to see, because if you're looking at the before and after pictures, like this is a dramatic change in terms of the appearance of your face from when you had the active, at the height of the Bell's palsy to now.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, I will. I'm going to link that. And then for preeclampsia, what's the timeline? Because I feel like for me getting back, they told me, the doctors also told me I would never, or not the doctors, but my OB and the Western side told me that I would probably never lose the weight and that I could forget about, like, pretty much in a nice way. They said I could forget about ever returning to my pre-baby weight, and basically telling me that I should just be happy that I had two healthy babies.
Well, I don't know why they would have said that. That shouldn't be anything that's long lasting. Like, it really shouldn't be. So I don't know why they were saying that. Mm-hmm. I can tell you I think in your situation, what they should have said is just going to take a little bit more work and it's going to take longer. But, when you come out of the hospital after having preeclampsia, your body needs to recover. That doesn't happen in a day. So it takes time, and we have to then get you back to a healthy place. On top of that, you're also breastfeeding, which is another complicating factor. So there's a lot of layers to this. To me, it wasn't a question about if you could. The question about was just how long was it going to take? And that was really both with the weight and the face, that was really the questions for me. So I don't know why I don't know that I was aware that they said that to you. I don't know why they said that. It doesn't make any sense why they would say that. Even if it was severe, it's not a real statement.
So when I went to, I will backtrack that for a minute. It was not my OB that told me my specific. I love her. She was really good. We moved. COVID happened. So that was like a whole nother incident. So I was like, you talk about the domino effect. It could not have just been like the perfect timing for me. If anything was going to happen, I mean, sure, why not? If it rains, it pours, right? So go ahead, pack it on. Let's go. But I literally, so we left San Diego because, we run our businesses and we have service-based businesses. So it was quite a scary time. I think all of us were a little nervous at that time that own businesses. No one knew what was going to happen. So we ended up making the decision to go a little east, and we figured if we're going to go that far east, why not go to Arizona? So we did. So here I am. I leave San Diego. It was about, the kids were like 8 or 9 months old when we left. And that's where my face, like I had you and like everything had pretty much like normalized. I'd come back to San Diego. We come back a lot still. And I know you still supported me and you still do. But like I went to a different neurologist, and that neurologist was here in Arizona. It was during COVID, and I will say, to her defense, she probably didn't know the scope of how everything was, because I was getting really bad migraines at that time from my Bell's palsy. My face was moving, but because I had about 7 or 8 months of my face not moving, I had to sleep with the eye patch on. It was pretty traumatic. I guess I will definitely link those pictures, but it basically, she told me that I should just be happy that my face is moving again, and that I, should be happy with where I was in my weight. And at that time, I think I was like 160 or 158, 160. And to me, I was like, no. And if someone, me, Marc, if someone gives me a challenge, let's go. Like, let's do it. Like, so I have my bike. I have pictures of me cycling with the twins. I'm wearing the twins. I'm cycling. I was walking up and down the hills. I was at the beach. I mean, you could not have like given me a better challenge. So I think about 4 years it took me though to get to hit that pre-baby weight though. I mean, it did take a while, and that's okay. I mean, I allowed my body to heal, and it definitely took a long time in my case to heal from that.
Yeah. I mean, again, you went through a lot and you were recovering, and it took a while, but it was possible. It wasn't like it wasn't possible to happen. So,
Yeah, exactly. And then the other thing I wanted to bring up is that when I did get, full motion and stuff of my face back, I think that at that time you had told me, like when we went and we looked at the before and the after pictures, I'm still super critical of myself. I still am to this day. But you were like, look at where you were. And I couldn't even drink out of a straw. And now, like,
yeah.
that's a testament. Like, that's why I drink out of a straw, because it helps keep my muscles moving.
Yeah.
And so I usually only drink out of a straw, because when I Bell's palsy, I couldn't. It was like liquid stuff flying everywhere. I'm like, I didn't know. People are probably like, she's had babies. She looks like a baby. She's drooling, like it just, you can't feel anything. But these side effects from it were the migraines, and that was the hardest part for me too, was another challenge to fully cover. And I still get them every once in a while, but I will say that I'm happy with my recovery. I think that I couldn't have had a better doctor to help me and support me, not only on a personal level, but you really just still, even now, if I have questions for you, you're always there for me, and I appreciate that. So
My pleasure.
I do think that it's a testament that you are not just, yes, you are the fertility expert. You were the one that was able to find out, or to find things that I think would have been missed very easily. And I personally, I still even I work with you on a professional level. I still don't understand. I don't think that people really truly understand until they actually go through something, right? Like, you can hear the terminology, you can know what things are, but I will encourage anybody that is listening, if you are having any sort of, concerns or struggles with getting pregnant, Marc, you definitely exceeded every level on any chart that I would have imagined. And you did it all in just such a graceful, good, like, kind way. You're very easy to work with, and you really do take the time to look at everything and do the research, and you actually know what you're talking about. Obviously, I still am like, wait, what is preeclampsia again? Like, I know my heart rate went down, or what is this? Like, I had it, but I still don't know the terminology or whatever that everything means, but you do. And that's important. And I do think it's also important to work with somebody that does take the time, because you definitely do.
Yeah. I mean, look, I take the work that I do seriously, and the trust that couples have in me is really important for me, right? Like, I want to give back. I want to show them that they trusted in me. I want to give them back. that trust. And so to me, it's really important that we are looking deep. We are looking for answers, that we're giving somebody, long-standing, long-term results. Because for me, it's not just helping someone get pregnant. I want to help them have healthy children. And to help them have healthy children, we've got to change a lot of things. It's not just about flipping a switch and you're pregnant. It's about getting you and your body as healthy as it can be so that you could get pregnant, but deliver healthy children as well. And so I take all of that very seriously. It's something I have a lot of pride in. And whether I work with somebody locally here in San Diego or someplace else in the world through my Hope program, I approach it exactly the same. And that's the way I always do it.
Well, and I love that because you also said you do take it serious, and I know you do, because when I when I was before pre-babies, you're like, "Oh, you're juicing." And before you're like, "What are you juicing?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm doing apples and oranges and strawberries." And you're like, "You're juicing strawberry?" Like, I'm like, "Yeah, I'm doing watermelon juice." And you're like, that's like all sugar. That's really just not, just because you're juicing doesn't mean that's like good for you. You're like
Right.
where's your greens? And I'm like, oh, sometimes I put spinach in it. And you're like, no, 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 no. So, I mean, right there, just like on a health note, you really do look at all the levels. Like, what are you eating? Like, these are the foods that are really good for you. Like, if there was egg quality concerns, which I think there was in the beginning because we were still looking at all the testing. And so you were like, look, eat salmon, eat a lot of, you were really coaching me and telling me and advising me what would be better for my body. And sometimes what we think, like I think, okay, I don't drink alcohol, I don't smoke, I don't do anything, put toxins in my body that I'm aware of. You make it very clear, like, okay, well, I think it's great you don't do those things, but, maybe what are the things that you do? And you kind of look at you take the time to look at my health plans, like what I'm eating, and really make sure that I'm understanding also what I'm putting in my body, which is a big deal, as you can probably elaborate a little bit more on really quick. I know we're kind of over on our call here, but you really make sure that I was eating the proper things and putting the right things in my body. Just because I think something was healthy, you kind of pointed out, well, that's good. I'm glad you're trying to take that approach, but maybe buy this type of yogurt instead, or like the Greek yogurt instead of the Yoplait, because there's just different things that you were able to catch to make sure that I was putting the best things inside my body as well, which does matter.
Yeah, look, we want everyone to eat well, but I also often tell people who tell me my diet's great. I'm like, okay, well, let's make sure it's great for you, right? So it's just because you're eating what you think is healthy doesn't mean it's healthy for you as an individual based on your circumstances, your diagnosis. And so that's also something that's really important, is the customization, the personalization. It's not just like cookie cutter protocols. We've got protocols that are designed, or I should say, make protocols for each couple or each individual based on their history and their circumstances. And I think that's also really essential to progress and results.
It is. And you did that for Todd too. You wanted to look at his. And so that was important as well. And then the one other thing that I did want to touch on is the fact that you are able to cast that wide net. So you see cases all over the world and you are able to support that. You have research and the capabilities to and access to, I'm assuming, like labs and things where you can have people send you results. And so you can really go over the things like you did for me and customize and tailor everybody else's plan according to what their challenges are.
Yeah. So whether I work with somebody here or I work with someone, let's just say in Europe or Australia or wherever they are, we still need the same information. And so I still need lab work, and we work with labs all over the world to make sure that people get the proper testing and results so that we can provide the best plan and support that they need. That's something that is, a staple and a big pillar of my protocols.
Yeah, and I love that. And it really does help. I think that just making sure you're doing all the research. Marc, you're the best in my opinion. And I know that personally. I have 2 beautiful babies. My face is moving. It's not perfect, but I'm going to take it, because from being told that I'll never get full movement, I think it's pretty close.
It looks
I know.
It looks
Thank you. I know there's no one else that could have done a better job. And you were also adamant. You said, bring those babies with you, too. And that was huge because I do work from home. So does Todd, and we run our businesses. But you were also like, that's fine. Bring the whole crew, caravan it here, just get here. You really do. When I say you take the time and family and all, you were right there and supportive and very hands-on. So I appreciated that because, not everybody has family and parents and everybody in the same place like we don't. So it was really nice that you were able to offer that because I think that when you're a new mom, if you don't have some of those resources, knowing that you're able to say, bring them in, it's okay. Maybe not ideal, but I mean, it's nice. It's a good option. So you really are, when I say you're supportive and you customize everything, you really do. And you are the best. So I really appreciate you. I'm like gonna cry because it was like going back. I watched the birth recently of the babies, and I don't know if I've ever sent it to you. I don't think I've ever shared it. Honestly, I think I shared it with my mom and my dad one time, the birth, but it was so traumatic. And the OB told me, she goes, Jenn, I could tell the last few pushes, your face changed, and you can see it on when I was so done and tired from it. You could kind of see the exhaustion. And I think that, it was the last few pushes that probably did it. But it is really, it's special that you were able to like help me. And I never knew it was going to be the journey that it is. It's emotional for me. I'm happy. I'm overjoyed. Could not be. So I can't even think of the words to say, but I just can't feel more love than I do because I have such a good husband. I have you. I have so much support, so many supportive people. And I think that you really were able to like impact both of us because you listened to Todd too. And I think that was like really important because it is two to tango for sure. And I don't think that it's always the women. We might be carrying the baby, but the men also have, their own experiences and trauma from it too. Todd did get a vasectomy. The doctor did say that I had a 70% chance of having twins again, because when you conceive naturally and you have twins and you do it naturally and they run in your family, in my age. So Todd went pretty quickly and made sure that was taken care of. So I really appreciate you, Marc. And I hope that anybody listening to this will consider you if they are struggling with any sort of health journeys, getting pregnant. And I could not give any better recommendation.
Oh, thank you. That's very sweet. I mean, it's a pleasure to work with you guys and it's an honor to have supported you through that process and be part of your story. So I appreciate you having me here to share it with everybody else.
Yeah, of course. And anybody who's listening, it's the fertility expert, Dr. Marc Sklar. You can find him at Reproductive Wellness and drmarksklar.com. And I will go ahead and link everything in the description so anybody can find him. And feel free to reach out to me if you have any personal questions. I'd be more than happy to answer them. And Marc is great, so don't be shy. If you have any concerns, male, female, whatever it may be, reach out to both of us. We're always here, and this is a good community where everybody is about helping each other and making sure that everybody feels very comfortable and nobody feels the stress and some of the anxiety that I had. And Marc really helped me with that. So if I can help anybody with that too, then reach out, please. Thank you, Marc. Okay. Well, you have a wonderful weekend. This episode is brought to you by Rural Reach Digital, where SEO meets AI to grow your business. Thank you so much for listening and spending time with me. As always, keep it real and see you next week.